Hey everyone, how you doing? This is the Cyber Behike Sanakori. Man, thank you for downloading this video. You guys are the best. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed, check it out. I just saw the recent stats. I'm looking at 60% of the people that watch these shows are not subscribed. So please, man, subscribe. It's free. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to say anything. Um, yeah, so we got a super show today. Hey, what's wrong? Hey, what? Really? You want to say hello? Okay, we got Christopher Columbus here. He wants to say hello.
Oh,
Hello.
snap.
All right. So he's always a bully. He always wants to show up. And all right, all right. You can talk back later. Don't worry about it. All right. So hey, we're back. We're back for our second historical show. We started in 1492, right? And we got a co-hostess right here. Her name is Natalie Rodriguez. Please, Natalie, take it away. What do you have to say?
What's up, Taigwe, Behike Sanekori, and Taigwe, everyone watching and listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so excited today because we've got my tietao, my hermano from my someone who is involved in the same community as I am, and I'm so excited to have him here. I'm just really so excited, especially because we're talking about how we were just back in 1492, and now we've come, what is it, 500 plus years later, when people were still celebrating or used to be celebrating Columbus Day, but now it's so great that so many people have actually changed it and are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day instead, which was just last month. And it's so exciting to see some of the amazing kind of milestones that we've hit as we're coming along that. And I don't want to spoil it too much because it's really, really exciting. But I'm so glad that we're here and we've got this
Okay, I think
guest.
we're getting a little streaming issue.
Little
Okay.
what?
Oh, I got a little streaming issue. I don't know. You kind of froze a little bit. What was the
Did I
last
freeze?
words you said?
I just said I'm
Huh?
so excited, but I know
You
I
said
forgot. Wasn't supposed to mention who he was because you're introducing him, right?
yeah. Wait. You said something about you're excited about Columbus Day. You said what? You were excited
No, no,
about
I
Columbus?
didn't. You edit
What?
that out. No, I said I'm excited about Indigenous Peoples Day. That's what it is now, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. He. All right. Yeah, definitely, man. You gotta agree to that, Columbus. All right, go ahead.
No, he's tapping out. So yeah, so I'm just so excited about all the milestones that we've been making in the Indigenous community and the Taino community as well, specifically. Um, Sanakori, you want to tell them a little more about that? Who we've got here, who can tell us more about what's going on? Because it's really
Well,
exciting
let me
stuff.
tell you. Well, guess what? Um, in this historical shows again, we've been going to 1492, but now we're gonna go way to the future, 2025. I think it's a 539 years we're gonna skip now,
Better
and
math than I could do.
yeah, but but this is historical because I was strolling through Facebook and I saw some exciting news from the Taino world, and I got a person. It was his profile actually. So I want him to introduce himself, and I want to ask him a question after he introduces himself. Go ahead, tell us what's your name, where you from.
Hello, it is a pleasure to be here today with y'all. My name is, excuse me, my name is Angel Cosme, and I'm calling in from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Whoa.
Happy to be here today. I got a lot to share. I don't know if I should jump into it right now, but I kind of just start by just giving gratitude for allowing me to be here in this space to share the story
Nice.
of our ancestors and our future generations.
So we're grateful for
Awesome.
you
Thank you
too.
so much. Yeah, thank you for agreeing to be on the show, man. I really love the post what went down in Massachusetts and stuff. But check this out. I have a question for you before any of that. Does the Taino people exist? Can you answer that question? Yes or no? And why? Why not?
Undoubtedly, unequivocally, without a doubt, yes.
Woo!
Absolutely. Absolutely, the Taino people exist, and the irony is, I'm a little bit older. Yeah, Christopher Columbus, your day's done. He keeps appearing
You
here,
ain't
but
as old as him, man.
your era is over. No, on a serious note, the Tainos definitely do exist, and I have a lot to say about that. What I think, there's communities, right, who have undoubtedly claimed and lived and practiced the culture and the religion since 1492 and beyond, right? What happened is a very tragic history of our people, but there is good news, and I'll get to that in a second. Um, but the Taino people, when they came in contact with the Europeans, specifically the Spanish, were brutally treated. They were enslaved, and what sort of caused this decline in the population was greed, right? There's no other word for it. It was the Spanish, when they saw the nose ring that contained gold, they became obsessed, right, for lack of a better word, with this item, this gold, and they began to enslave our ancestors, our people, to the point of exhaustion, to the point of incredible declines. When you add the enslavement and the maltreatment of the Taino people, with the diseases that were brought over by the Europeans, those combinations were a drastic mixture of what they thought was erasure. But what ended up happening is that our people intermixed, right, with the Europeans, with the African brothers and sisters who were brought over to the Caribbean to replace the indigenous labor. And of those people, the descendants of those people, the Taino remains. And how we know that is relatively recent in terms of genetic DNA studies, right? The DNA, once we learned about DNA, we found that a lot of people from the Caribbean, descendants of the Caribbean, still carry the Taino DNA, right? So how can a people be extinct if the very blood and the DNA of those people still exist today? And for me personally, I've always identified as Puerto Rican. My parents both were born in Puerto Rico. I personally was born in Brooklyn, New York. But
Hey,
I
Brooklyn in the
identify
house. So was I,
Brooklyn.
man. I'm a Brooklyn
Brooklyn.
guy.
Yes, I didn't grow up in
New
Brooklyn. I think
Yorker.
at 4 years old, I moved to Rhode Island, and then at 16, I moved to Massachusetts, and I've been in Massachusetts since then.
As
But
long as you're
New
not a
York is,
Patriots fan.
yeah, I am. Well,
Oh no.
I was during the whole Brady era, but like now it's a whole different game right now.
Okay, fair,
Um,
fair.
but definitely, like, I would read books about our people, and I always knew about the Taino. And what I didn't know is that there are, and I can get to this a little bit later, but there are practicing Yucayekes, tribes that are practicing the culture, the religion, the spirituality, and the language, right? And our people were the first. This is important. Were the first to encounter Christopher Columbus, and his men, right? So we are the first point of contact with this Europeans who came over. Yeah, that guy and
Yeah.
and and
First
his descendants.
Indians.
Right. But we weren't
Wrongly
as the
named, but yeah.
absolutely. So one of the things that's particularly interesting about the DNA, when I did my DNA, a lot of the readings that I read about came together for me, right? Because my DNA composes of European, it's got some African, which I fully embrace. But when I saw the Taino blood in me, I can't explain the feeling that I had, that I have right now. It is
Yes.
a beautiful feeling to know, and it's become my life's mission, to be honest with you, to help other people to awaken, if you will, to their indigeneity, right?
Right.
Most of my DNA, and this is not it's not just about DNA, right? There's a lot of people that have critiques about DNA and all of that, but the majority of my DNA, not 50% or more, but in terms of the ethnicity that is the largest in my particular DNA is Taino. So I've been misidentifying my whole life. I'm 49 years old, and into my late 40s is now when I reclassified my identity. But I want to say that there's people, brothers and sisters of ours, who have always classified as Taino. They always knew they were Taino. Their mothers and their grandparents practice the culture, right? There's those folks, and then there's the folks like myself who are rediscovering the fact that we are Taino and that we have the indigenous blood in us.
Yeah, I think that comes
Wow,
down
that's
to a lot of,
beautiful.
yeah, it comes down to a lot of, even sadly within our own families and stuff. I think we were kind of fed that narrative that we were extinct, right? Like maybe some family members would say, "Oh yeah, back when," but nowadays, I mean, the books and teachers and schools tell us we don't exist anymore, so we don't really embrace that anymore. I
Yeah.
feel like that is very much something that, sadly, I think has been kind of the prevalent narrative within a lot of Caribbean communities. Also because I think just the idea of associating with anybody who wasn't like more, or associating yourself with anybody who's not fully like more white or more Spanish European descended, kind of it was like something people were ashamed of, right? Like I've even heard it about people who, you know, don't want to, they want to hide their African ancestry, want to hide their indigenous ancestry. And like if you look, it's funny, I've seen so many like censuses of like how people self-identify in the Greater Antilles, and it's amazing how many people self-identified as white in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and everything. And then when they go back and actually do DNA tests, how many years later they're like, oh, all these people who were calling themselves white weren't really, I mean, like they were partially, but they were mainly like mestizo, mulatto, or both, or mixed. And it was just like, I think that really speaks to like where we've come, right? Because back then, I think our parents, grandparents would have preferred to keep, at least some of them might have preferred to keep that hidden.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
That's a critical distinction, and part of that is because of colonization, right?
Of course.
If you were indigenous, then you would be made to be part of the encomienda system and to be enslaved. And the only way that you can get around that is if you claimed the religion of the Spaniards, right? If you converted, then you weren't counted as indigenous, right? So that got mixed up with the population in terms of identifying. But we've always known through in our communities throughout the Caribbean that the Taino has never is never extinct. So I want to be 100% clear that we have to get rid of the extinction narrative. It doesn't exist. We are still here, very much alive and practicing, and there's different manifestations of the culture being manifested here in the diaspora and in the Caribbean for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
you,
So on
you,
that,
you know,
oh, sorry, Bahike, go ahead.
wait, Angel, I just want to share something that we said something about DNA before. You know, for the first time, I was on Ancestry.com, and I saw that they had my dad and my mother for the first time. Like their shared DNA of the indigenous, and that was the first time I saw that. So immediately I was like, okay, they're both from the indigenous lines, right? So our history in the Caribbean, right? Indigenous Caribbean, what goes back to what 8,000 years, right? So so
Yeah.
so I'm doing the math. 8,000 years plus 539 years of admixture, right? I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. And
Right.
what's amazing
Right.
is that through the years, DNA is watered down, right? Each generation we
Yeah.
lose something,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
it's a miracle, but it's not really a miracle because you're looking at 8,000 years, man. You can't
I,
erase 8,000 years.
Some
that,
people say admixture is like detrimental to our survival. I was like, I would say it was beneficial because if
Yeah.
you stay, I mean, as an anthropologist, nerding out right here, but I'll tell you, you stay within one singular ethno population, especially one that suffered colonization and that population is being diminished. If you only, you know, intermarry and everything within that same population, obviously you won't survive usually. Also, there's going to be congenital issues, birth defects, things, etc. Because eventually people are all going to be too related to really have kind of a thriving population. So it's I always think our admixture at least is like credit to our adaptation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
you know
those.
I yeah.
Dale, after you, sir.
No, I'm sorry because I just want to add something. I regret not writing the title of this book, but in the 1800s, I would say early 1800s, Tata Melendez taught me that she showed me the book and I didn't write the title down. It's somewhere out there. If anyone's watching this, please in the comment section if you know what that book is. But there is a book of poetry. When there was a huge influx of Spanish immigrants that came to Puerto Rico, Borinquen, and that book is dedicated poetry to la mujer india, the Indian woman. They came looking to marry Indian women. This is the 1800s. So,
Can't blame
damn,
them. We're pretty great. I mean,
Yeah,
so
no,
so
absolutely. There's a study that says, right, specifically about like the Puerto Rican being the most perfect human, and that is not. No, seriously, like there was
no,
something
no.
that I
I
read,
know. Just because of
right?
the triracial
we gotta
admixture and
combine right
everything,
here.
the genetics of it.
When
I
we
know. Believe me, I've read it.
so not just the Puerto Rican, right? The Caribbean people in general, but there's a study that I just want to quote. In 2018, there was a study in Nature found that indigenous genetic markers in over 60% of the Puerto Rican genome, right? So the majority of Puerto Ricans still
Mhm.
carry that DNA, and it's the same for our brothers and sisters in Quisqueya and Cuba and other parts of the Caribbean, right? So to answer your question, if does the Taino exist, that's just one element of it, right? The DNA, but the cultural practices, the language, right? Words like barbecue and canoa and iguana and quenepa,
Hamaca, canoa.
hamaca, huracan, right? All these words that are still used today have been incorporated into our language, and that's another testament, right, to the fact that the Taino still exists. The spirituality, the oneness with nature, all of that, and it's a beautiful thing. We're in the middle of a historic period, and this movement has been around for over 30 years. But right now, in this particular time, there's great things happening, and I feel like when we tell the story of the Taino, these moments right now in 2025 are gonna be part of a revolution that is spearheading for us to be finally acknowledged and accepted, and for that extinction narrative to be put to bed once and for all.
Yeah, so since we're talking about like, obviously our ancestry and our heritage and our roots always goes to where we come from, right? So you mentioned, I think you were born in Brooklyn, right? We'll forgive you for that, but that's
Oh, no.
uh
Natalie, can you hear me?
yeah,
Natalie,
I can hear you.
I hate to interrupt you, but I have someone wants to say something. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Before you go
Okay.
on,
Oh no, again? This guy, this fool again?
I just I just want to
What does he
say
have
that
to say?
if you read my journal, December 25th, 1492, I said I never met more beautiful people in my life, and that was the Taino people. It's in my journal. Read it. It says I never met more beautiful people. Thank you.
You
You
could almost forgive
you
the
did
genocide for that, right?
you did say that, but you also said that 50 men you can subjugate them and make them do what you want, and that is exactly what
Yo,
you did.
he just disappeared, man. What happened?
Oh, that's weird.
He just disappeared. Hey, come back
He
here. What's
discovered his
up?
extinction.
I like that part, Angel. Good job. Natalie, what do you have to say?
I mean, obviously we're gorgeous. Everybody just needs to watch this video to know that, right? But
You
but
are beautiful.
yeah, of
Absolutely.
course, especially us, the women, of course. I mean, who doesn't want a native woman these days?
I'm marrying one, and I know what you mean. I've got 3 sisters, a bunch of my mother. We are a beautiful race indeed, dear
Yes,
sister.
exactly. I think my
True,
husband and I,
true.
we only just got married in May. We'll see. I think he's still learning that. how we flow, you know, but but hopefully no regrets. But what I was saying is obviously it all comes back to, of course, the diaspora and the heritage and where we're from. And most of us, or many of us who aren't weren't born in the islands, like I think Angel, you mentioned before, you were born in Brooklyn, live in Massachusetts now, but your heritage, your Taino and your cultural heritage comes from Boriquen. So
Yes.
maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that and like how you trace your ancestry and your roots and to Boriquen still, despite not uh, being born there, not living there
Being born there.
currently. And yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. It's so like I in addition to doing my DNA, I started exploring my family tree. And I want to leave that gift to the generations that follow, my children and my relatives, to show like I've managed to trace, and I'm not gonna get it exactly right, but like fifth and sixth great grandparents from Borinquen, right? So my father's right, my mother's were like that, multiple generations in the island, right? So the reason I
Dang.
claim Taino more so than any other ethnicity that's in me is because that those are the indigenous roots. That is the land where the original people inhabited for, like you said, thousands of years. Earlier I said hundreds. I was referring to the contact, the first contact. But our people have been in the Caribbean for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So they developed a very intricate way of life, a way of agriculture, right? The foods that have been passed down, the farming methods that have been passed down. That's not the star knowledge, the astrology, right? We were able to tell and navigate through the oceans by looking at the stars. And there's a ceremonial space in Puerto Rico, in I think it's in Thebes. I could be wrong of the actual location, where they a recent study found the very intricate knowledge of astronomy, and calendar and days to plant. That is, I'm not doing it any justice and quoting it, but it blew my mind when I heard that presentation by a researcher. So we weren't primitive, backward,
No.
uncivilized people. We had a deep knowledge of the land that was around us, and the science of astrology, etc. So yeah, I
You,
trace my lineage to Boriquen, and we love to use we use the original names of our islands. So it's not Puerto Rico's Boriquen, it's not Dominican Republic, it's
Mm-hmm.
Quisqueya,
Quisqueya.
right? We do that intentionally.
you know,
Like,
it's great that you mentioned that. I believe what you meant was Thebes, because in Thebes, the ceremonial grounds there, which was recently discovered in 1970s after a hurricane. I
Hmm.
was there
of
in
course it was.
yep,
Would have gone.
yep, exactly.
Always
I
stirring
was
shit
there
up.
in 90. Yep, exactly, right. So so I was there in 94, and I remember the anthropologist, the archaeologist that was at the center. I forget his name. He was a member of Taino Nation also. I remember he was saying he didn't know what that area was. It was an area with a circle. It was a beautiful circle with stones around it. And they didn't know
The
back then
Patepa.
what that was. They didn't know what it was. And then finally it was a sun calendar, So this is
Right. There it is.
it was
Yes,
deep
yes.
stuff. But I
Sun
remember
rock.
when they Yup, I tell you one thing, I was there. I wanted to do a ceremony, but I didn't know what kind because it was a perfect circle, man. It was perfect. And I remember I just started jogging like a track thing. I started jogging around it, and I did not get tired. The energy from that area, from that ground, was like whoa. So I
Mm-hmm.
told him, I don't know what this is, but this is like a battery, I just kept it was charging me up, and it was like 100 degrees that day. And I'm running around. My sister can testify to this. She was with me. I was running around. I did at least 6 laps or something, and it was like whoa. So I don't know if anyone has ever done that, or allowed to do that, but I was allowed to run around in that circle. Man, that's the power of the sun, man. That's some powerful stuff. Vitamin D, right?
I went to both ceremonial parks. I went in July with my fiance, and then some brothers and I went recently on a retreat, and I got to walk barefooted on the sacred land, and
Right.
it's unexplainable. It's unexplainable to be home, to
That's
be in
right.
the mountains, listening to the coqui, knowing that you're on land that was inhabited by our ancestors. If you could give me like a minute, if I can, with your permission, I would like
Yeah.
to offer a visualization that paints a picture of our people back then, and it kind of brings us into the modern times. It's a really short visualization. Is that okay if I was to do that?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Um, so I'm just gonna jump into it because I want to be mindful of time. So you don't have to, but for those that are listening, if I invite you to close your eyes and to take a deep breath, relax, feel your chest rise and fall, the air entering your lungs, the same way our ancestors once breathed under the Caribbean sun. So I want you to journey with me back over 500 years to Boriquen, to Quisqueya, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica. These islands are filled with green mountains, sacred rivers, and the endless ocean. Hear the sound of the drums, the mayahuacan, the laughter of children, the chants rising from our arietos. The people are strong, the people are rooted, the people are free. Now imagine the horizon darkening with sails, strangers stepping ashore. First came words of peace, then came chains. The beating of drums was silenced by the crack of whips. The laughter of children was drowned by cries of hunger and sickness. Warriors fell, families were torn apart. Our numbers, once believed to be in the millions, were cut down to almost none. The colonizers declared us extinct. But close your eyes tighter and listen. Do you hear it? Under the soil, under the rivers, under the stars, our ancestors whisper, we are not gone. We live in you. Every drop of blood in our veins, every word in our language, every story passed down in secret kitchens, in lullabies, in prayers, prove them wrong. We survived, we endure. Fast forward to today, across Boriquen, across Quisqueya and Cuba, across the United States and across the world, our people are rising again. We gather in circles like this one, men and women reclaiming our songs, our dances, our language, our pride, our people. We are healing what was broken. We are rebuilding what was stolen. We are remembering who we are. And now we have a moment of reflection. What is our role in this movement? You're not just one man or one woman. You are a living continuation of thousands of ancestors. You are the drumbeat. You are the protectors. You are the fire keepers for future generations. You are part of a powerful unity that no conquest can erase. And take one more breath. With gratitude, with pride, with honor, open your heart to the ancestors. Open your mind to the responsibility. Open your soul to our unity. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes and remember the Taino are not extinct. The Taino are here. The Taino are us. Thank you.
That's right. Wow,
Thank
beautiful.
you
That
for
was a
allowing me to
pleasant
share that.
surprise, man. That was a very
Thank you for
pleasant
allowing me to
surprise.
share
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you for
man, this is great.
taking us there.
Of course.
Hey,
Of course.
Natalie, can you go to the historical questions now that we had
Yeah,
prepared?
yeah. I mean, obviously, we talk about history, but everything's connected, right? History is not really history. It's all, especially when it comes to people like us, we're just talking about ancestors going back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So, Angel, why don't you tell us a little bit, first of all, again, we're throwing out so many Taino words here, and I love it. But some of our viewers and listeners may not know necessarily all those words because unfortunately the colonizers took our language, among other things. So, Angel, why don't you tell us a bit about what a Ucayeke is and about your Ucayeke affiliation, which is also mine. Spoiler alert.
Absolutely.
And we can learn more about that.
Oh, this is important because a Ucayeke is a tribe. It's an affiliation of Taino people who gather and practice the culture, the language, the spirituality of the Taino. And I'm part of Higuayagua Taino of the Caribbean, which are that's right. Me and Natalie are, and our cacique Atunwa, the chief cacique in our tribe. His name is Jorge Esteves. And he has been in the Taino reclamation movement for over 30 years. And we are not the only Ucayeke. I want to say that there's multiple Ucayekes in the different islands. There's some in Puerto Rico. So we're not the only one, right? And what we need, and I want our viewers to hear this, what we need, we have a hard time enough, right? Validating our existence, countering the extinction narrative. What we need more of is unity amongst our people, right? I am not going to oppose any Taino who is practicing the culture and living in their truth, right? And so sometimes we get caught up in this bickering amongst our community. I just want to name it, and we got to remember what unites us all. Whether you're with Higuayagua, you're with another tribe, or you're with no tribe, we are all the descendants, right? Those of us who carry that tradition and that blood. And so I just want to I want to take a moment and really cry out to my people to stick together and to love one another. We don't got to get along. We don't got to be best friends, but we should respect each other, and we should honor the ways that we choose to practice, right? We're no longer in 1492. We're in 2025. And so, a lot of our material culture, a lot of our records and stories have been erased, right? And so we are trying our best to represent the Taino people, given the very tragic history of our particular people. So yeah, I'm very proud of Higuayagua, and I'll say what makes us unique, and Natalie can attest to this, is what attracted me to it as well, is that we are not just from Boriquen. We are not just from Quisqueya. We are not just from Cuba. We are a Ucayeke that encompasses Taino from all the Caribbean and the diaspora. And I think that's kind of
we even have some members from the Lesser Antilles and everything as well. From what
Canada,
I know,
and some members in Europe, right? And that's how it was, not Canada and Europe, but like in the Caribbean, we were very mobile. We moved in these canoes that would fit up to 150 people. How primitive can we be if we knew how to navigate from Boriquen to Quisqueya on a canoe, knowing the currents and the stars, etc. So yes, I'm from Higuayagua. I am Matunheri, which means advisor to Kasike Kalatauma. And Kasike Kalatauma is the regional chief for the Massachusetts region, which encompasses Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Maine, I believe. And we have caciques in Higuayagua throughout the Caribbean and throughout the United States as well.
That's right.
Beautiful.
That's right.
Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like the Taino do exist throughout the world.
Absolutely. I talk to a Taino every single day. And my network on social media of the Taino people has just grown and grown and grown and grown, right? And so I affiliate myself with my people as much as I can. And there's a lot of people that are with Higuayagua, not with Higuayagua, who are brothers and sisters in unity, acknowledging and embracing who we are as a people. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be Taino. We are a beautiful race, a beautiful, persistent, resilient people.
Well, we're making history right here because I'm from the Higuayagua Arayeke, so we're making unity right here, man.
That's
We're
right.
making a
That's
nice.
right, brother.
This is sancocho. This is a really good sancocho right here.
Una mezcla. I love it, my brother. You, my brother. Why should I be upset that you're with another tribe, right? You've embraced me.
Yeah,
I embrace you. And this is probably the longest conversation I've had with you. But I know the connection that we have. I know that we're coming from a place of love for our people. So who am I to think that I'm better than
yeah.
you, right? Or that I know more than you, or that I'm more Taino than you, right? We got to
Likewise.
stop that. Yeah.
Likewise, man. You're absolutely correct.
I appreciate you,
Yeah.
my brother. That's how it should be. Think
Absolutely.
about it.
And I
Thank
The
you.
appreciated that
ancestors.
Likewise.
about what you mentioned about Higuayagua as well, because I think what I felt again as a Taino whose ancestors are from Cuba, and who's more Siboney Taino, and some people are like, they're not the same kind of Taino as we are. Like in Boriken, we're the true Taino and everything. And I was like, but I always thought we were all technically from the same like greater culture and greater ethno-linguistic family, again throwing out my fancy anthropological terms, and that obviously, like you said, Angel, that we had communication and traveling between the islands and everything. Like, I mean, in Cuba, we always talk about Hatue, our great, a big Taino hero and everything, but he originally came from Quisqueya. So it's like this that really attracted me to Higuayagua as well, just how like it wasn't like you know specifying to one kind of particular type of Taino or one particular location, one particular diaspora and everything. It's the inclusivity, and I think that's
Right.
definitely what we need now more than ever, right?
We used to travel to each other's islands and trade, and families would be adopted from the different islands. But in Cuba, there is a Taino community that has
Oh
been
yeah, I
practicing
know them
for
very
a
well.
really long time, right? Like we got to stop comparing each other and trying to one up and more Indian than thou, and really just embrace what unites us all. When you think about the women, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be graphic, whose children was being smashed on rocks, right, by the testaments and the diaries that we know of Columbus, all, and the hands and the feet were being chopped off, and the women were seeing and the men seeing all of this destruction. Their way of life was totally destroyed, and they would cry out. We are, our Kasike often says, we are the answered prayers of our ancestors, right? And so regardless of where you are in the Caribbean, what tribe you're from, we have to start uniting. We're going to be stronger as a people. And yeah, I mean, that's my message of peace and love for us to thrive. But there's a lot of great things happening too in the movement. So I don't know if you want me to talk about that, or but I'll I'll pause for a second.
Natalie, what was that
Yeah,
historical question you had, Natalie? Yeah.
well, again, I'm totally nerding out this episode. That's great though. Uh, I like to connect everything. And as as someone who's part of Higuayagua and just thinking back to the times when we went from being colonized, being extinct, and we've been considered extinct on record, right? Like in a lot of texts, if you Google us online, sometimes even on certain Wikipedia pages or wherever, it'll still say like we're a people, are now considered extinct, etc. And that's been the main narrative for about, I would say, 500 years or so, because like we said, this kind of revitalization movement has been going on for about a little over 30 years, or at least in the public sphere anyway. And so I think it's amazing we've come from that to what I have heard, Angel, and seen on social media and everything on Facebook and Higuayagua News, some really exciting things. And I'll let you kind of tell us about that.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna share some things that is really exciting. First and foremost, all credit due to UCTP, the United Confederation of Taino People, because in 1999 they passed the first Taino-specific proclamation in 1999, and 26 years later, very recently, a few months ago, Connecticut became the second state to issue a specific Taino resolution acknowledging the Taino people, right? And I was excited to read that, and it was in the news, and I'm a special education teacher, but I'm trained also as a community organizer professionally.
I think we're having some connection issues.
Oh yeah?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we have. Can you start that? Okay, can you start that again, because you disconnected?
Sure. So Connecticut passed a resolution this year, a couple of months ago, and I was really excited to see that. And I'm a community organizer by heart, and trained as a community organizer. So I said I want to do that in Massachusetts, right? I would love Massachusetts to do what Connecticut did. So I reached out to the folks in Connecticut, a brother who is now actually a Higuayagua member, Rafael Feliciano. He's one of the ones who drafted the resolution in Connecticut, and he told me what they did, and he connected me to Massachusetts Senator Adam Gomez. Adam Gomez considers himself Taino, right? And he and Higuayagua members met, and we said we want to do something in Massachusetts. So on Columbus Day this year, Massachusetts passed a proclamation acknowledging the Taino people. But it gets better. That same week, 2 other states passed specific Taino proclamations. Aurora, Colorado passed one, and the governor's office in California passed a Taino-specific proclamation, not to mention the United States Virgin Islands, right? So if my math is right, that's 5 states and a U.S. territory that have passed the proclamation within the last few months. And there's other states in the works, right, who have said, hey, I see what you guys are doing, and we want to pass proclamations as well. So it's a time where there's like momentum, and our people are being acknowledged. There's a kind of exclusive news by the time this probably comes out. Massachusetts is also going to pass a Taino resolution. We passed the proclamation through the Senate, and now we're going to pass a Taino resolution, which holds more teeth, acknowledging the Taino people from the House of Representatives.
Wow.
So other states are looking to do the same. And the idea is, if more states did it, right, we won't get federal recognition, nor do we want it, because whatever our Kasike always says, whatever they give you can be taken away, right? But the idea is for for people who were thought to be extinct, for states to say, we see you, you exist, and you're practicing the culture. It's validating, right? We don't need it, but it's validating for us. And if more states did it, then perhaps we can put pressure on the Caribbean governments to give us the acknowledgement that we need. And so that's kind of like a long-term plan. We don't need it because we know who we are, right? It's not like the states are saying you are Taino, and now we're validated. We've always known, but it's a beautiful thing for the colonizer, if you will, to say we see you.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I think,
that
really
is beautiful,
instrumental into kind of working towards healing that trauma, right, from the colonization as well.
Absolutely. If you give me 30 seconds, I can read the Senate proclamation, and it's not perfect, right? These proclamations are not. The idea is, if more states can do it, if they could become more radical, if their language could be more affirming, by all means, expand upon what has started to be built, right? So if you give me 30 seconds, I could read. It's pretty short. Is that okay if I read the Massachusetts, so we can hear the sort of the language? So it says, resolution commending the Taino people on their recognition of October 13th, 2025 as Indigenous Peoples Day, whereas the Taino are the indigenous people of Boriquen, Quisqueya, and other Caribbean islands with a rich cultural heritage, language, and way of life. And whereas Taino descendants have survived through cultural continuity, oral history, and ancestral practice. And whereas Taino identifying residents in the Commonwealth are part of the Taino diaspora, especially within the Puerto Rican and Dominican communities, and actively engage in language revitalization, ceremonial practice, tribal affiliation, and educational work. And whereas many present-day Taino tribal communities actively work to preserve, revitalize, and promote the ancestral knowledge, language, and traditions of the Taino nation throughout the Commonwealth and the United States, now therefore be it resolved that the Massachusetts Senate hereby commends the Taino people of the Caribbean in recognition of October 13th, 2025 as Indigenous Peoples Day. So, I mean, that's the proclamation that we passed in Massachusetts. Connecticut has similar language, and as do the other states. But what makes it unique is that it's specific to the Taino people. So we're seeing this explosion in 2025, towards the end of 2025, of these proclamations and resolutions. Exciting times.
Wow. That's history right there.
Yes.
We're creating
yes.
it.
See,
and I want to thank all of the senators and the House of Representatives and the government officials who are, Taino and descendants of the Taino who were brave enough to take this on, honestly, and the collaboration for our allies and others who are continuing the work in other states. Many other states are in the works as well.
that's beautiful, man. That's great. That's music to my ears, our ears,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Good job, brother. That's warriorship work right there, man. Thank you for doing that. And all the people you mentioned, and Connecticut, Massachusetts. Wow, that's amazing. And special blessings to your Yucayeke. It shows that we're still here.
Yes, same to you. And I always say, whenever there's any kind of acknowledgement, I throw it back to our ancestors. Honestly, I don't need any recognition. I don't need anything. I want our people to be respected. And so, to the glory of our ancestors, to the glory of our current Taino people and the future generations who will grow up without a doubt, knowing with no question.
Okay, let me cut off there a little bit.
To the glory of our ancestors and our future generations. That's who should get the credit.
Oh man, hey Natalie, you there with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I could hear you. We good?
Okay, I think yeah, you got cut off.
Okay.
I don't know if it was me or you.
I never throughout this whole thing I've always heard everyone, so I'm not sure if
I've heard you too the whole time.
Yeah, I was simply saying that the
Okay,
glory
just say that
goes
last statement again because I missed it.
Absolutely. The glory and the acknowledgement goes to the ancestors and the future generations. That's what I always say. So the work, the acknowledgement goes to them so that the future generations, like my son, who's 4 years old, can just know without a doubt that the Taino people exist, that the cultures practice. I didn't talk much about it, but even the language. There's currently, 3 or 4 Taino versions of the language, where 30 years ago there was none.
Yeah.
So we're revitalizing the language as well, and one day it'll just be spoken fluently, like we're speaking in English now.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. Thank God, right? Thank Atabe Yokahu that we're doing this.
Yes.
Listen, we ran out of time. Natalie, got some final words to share?
I just want to say thank you so much. As a fellow Higuayagua member, I've seen all the hard work that you all have done, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm so proud and glad to call myself not only Taino but part of Higuayagua, specifically for making that specific thing happen within Massachusetts, and hopefully that is like a beacon for other Yucayekes and other Taino communities to kind of follow suit and continue pushing for that sort of acknowledgement and recognition. It really is, again, like you've said, we don't need it, but I think when it comes to, like you said, people who have experienced not only an actual genocide, but a paper genocide where our existence is still questioned or doubted, like that really is important when it comes to healing that trauma of both of those types of genocides, right?
Definitely.
Beautifully said, Itu.
Definitely.
Beautifully said, Itu.
So thank you again.
You know, I just want to end the show. I got one of the members here, the Taino Funhouse, wants to say hello. You guys heard me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my friends from the Taino Funhouse wants to say hello. He's of the Hutia family. Say hello, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Hey. What's his or her name?
Oh wait, his name is Junito.
Junito. Everything gotta happen after it.
Look how excited he is. He's just as excited about these proclamations as we are, I think. That's why, look, he's dancing for the ancestors and everything.
I love it. I love it.
Look at him.
Behike, I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you, Behike, for the invitation. I wanna thank you for promoting our people and our culture, and for us to demonstrate intertribal unity for our people, right? Without any competition or fear. And to my dear sister, my Itu, Natalie, my fellow Higuayagua tribal member, scholar. I'm just so proud. My life's mission. I know what my purpose is for people to feel what I feel, and for more of us to be awakened, and for our people to not just survive, because we do that, but for us to thrive. So any opportunity that I have to speak about my people, and to spread and to eradicate these myths is a blessing. And so thank you for blessing me with this opportunity to share. And nothing but love. Y pa'lante, mi gente, pa'lante siempre, pa'lante.
Wepa.
Pa'lante, man. And I want to download the show, Taino Funhouse, on YouTube. And you're welcome back anytime, Angel and Natalie. I'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you, Angel, again.
Thank
all right,
you.
God bless you all. You guys did a great job.
Gracias, pa'lante.
Thank you, bro.